Was that a victory for the fans tonight, Kenny? Obviously, the victory wasn't on the pitch for Arsenal. That game was shocking. There was shocking performances all over the park, but I think that's going to be overshadowed by the fact that there was thousands. And I don't think me and you believed how many. Like when we see it, I was like, I expected 1,000 max. I don't know about you, but was you shocked how many people came out in the protest?
Yes, I was. I was very shocked because what's happened is that I got an alert, and then I was spent most of the time on YouTube, and all I could see, I couldn't. But the numbers, the way they mobilised themselves, the organisation was fantastic, and people genuinely did what they were going to say, and they turned up, and it was a very good protest. There was obviously things like burning the American flag. I don't like that because
the effigy of Stan hanging as well.
Yeah. The American flag, I find that I don't like that because simple reason is that there's a lot of people we've worked with via YouTube, done a lot of podcasts with people we've worked with, and I think that's an insult to them because that's their country, and I think a nation's flag is sacrosanct, and I don't think that's nice. But in terms of like what I saw, it's very, very well mobilised and very organised. One thing is though, is that in terms of like what they're asking for. They're better placed to look for a new owner, and they're better placed making overtures to that the guy who owns Spotify, Daniel.
Yeah, he's tweeted for that.
Now, if he's tweeted, then fine, make some overtures for him and make an offer, a realistic offer to the football club. But remember one thing.
Sorry to cut you. Do you think that he's tweeted that just to boost his Spotify memberships?
100%. 100%. The same reason why Usmanov did the same thing to boost his thing, and the same thing like Docote is doing for his business. The day, whether English football, especially Premiership football, is big business. But you've got to realise one thing is that the end will justify the means. Like let's pick the bones out, the reasons and the real reasons why we have billionaires in football clubs. Because English, if I was to ask you or ask any of your friends or maybe your family and said, right, who would you rather have managing, say, let's not talk about Arsenal, Man City? Would you have the guy who owns the hosiery business in Greater Manchester around Hume, who's a self-made millionaire? Would you rather have someone from Uzbekistan who's worth £10 billion? Who would you rather?
Yeah, of course. Everyone's going to pick the 10 billion, aren't they?
Exactly. And I think that's the thing, is that football have brought these billionaires into the game, and they've expected these billionaires to run the game like a business, make it financially viable, and make sure that they don't run it into the ground. Yet they're asking these billionaires who are used to doing as they please and actually know how to run a business to fall within basically general standards that have been with us for 150 years, and that's not going to happen. So what Sky, the Premier League and UEFA have done is that normally they're all for globalisation of the masses, especially our friends in America, Australia and all these other countries around. But what they've done is they thought, oh, let's use the working class fans in England. Let's use local fans and let's use legacy fans. So basically, at the moment, we don't really need you. We don't really want you, really. But at the moment, because we want to exercise our control over English football, and we want to stop this new franchise from taking over our controlling interests, we need you to do our dirty work and go outside every ground and protest. Go on every TV show and protest. Go on every radio show and protest. Use all your YouTube vehicles and protest. And then, and by the way, if you want to use your own to get out, fine. And I think that's what's happened is that what they've done is they've used Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville as the mouthpiece, because what's happened, they didn't get the footballer from the south or Cockney, they got two northerners from Bury and Sefton, Bootle and Merseyside. So what they've done, right, is that they said, right, if they hear working class voices, this will be able to get the message across to working class fans who we need to stop this happening and need to postpone.
Did you notice as well that Monday Night Football, which is normally closed off in certain countries across the world because of not available in your location, they lifted all the restrictions on that, Sky, and they also streamed it live to YouTube.
Well, everything's been streamed live. everything's been, all their programs, especially the debates, have been streamed live, because what's happening right now is Sky, alongside their mates of the Premiership, on the forefront of this. It's basically, that's what happens in everything. John Barnes clearly mentioned the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and what's happened. He's right. If you want to change something, and you want to take control, you don't do it yourself. You get the masses on side because there's more of them and they're more vocal with their language, and so
and then you get the siege mentality and the tribalistic side of it.
And then what happens once they win it for you, you'll dump them to bad habits. You're still going to charge them exorbitant price for your Sky. You're still going to go up to them and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, Saturday evening when you want to spend time with your family, we're gonna, because it was so successful when there's no crowds, we're still going to keep the 7:15 and 8 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday and a Sunday."
Yeah, but we're going to charge you an extra £10 a month now for the privilege.
And we're still going to have a game on a Thursday because it's really successful. So basically, we have a benefit. Thanks for helping us out, but we still want your money and we're still going to shaft you. You know what I mean? And then just before we talk about the football, because that's what we're at, football, mate. UEFA have basically got their own Super League where they're rewarding failure. So if you finish between 9th and 24th, you're going to play a playoff in many games, and then you can film the last 16. So basically, it's again, what's all that about? Which means teams who have been crap and who normally fall into Europa League or fall out of the Champions League, then they've got another chance for being crap to go to get to a fight, get to a knockout stage and win the final after they lost most games.
Kenny, that's been the same throughout, because if you finish third in the Champions League, you go Europa League. Yeah. We lost at the hands of Atletico Madrid, who went on to win the Europa League, but they were in Champions League. Man United were in Champions League. They're now in the semi-final of Europa League.
Chelsea, 2013, Chelsea. Yeah. And that's the whole situation about it, is that we're basically mobilising a known enemy to stop an enemy we don't know. So basically, all the authorities like FIFA, UEFA, the Premier League are basically saying it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they've used the government.
Grass isn't greener on the other side.
They've used the government, knowing full well that UEFA and FIFA are against government intervention into their leagues. So basically, it's hot air by Boris because he knows he's just trying to mobilise fans and think, right, that's a few kudos. All these people these red cities that voted Conservative normally vote Labour. Oh yeah, by the way, they're all working class football fans, so let's get them on side. It's a game.
100%. Kenny, to wrap up, obviously the game was shocking. The fans were probably man of the match, and me and my missus came up with a very good theory. And I want to ask you this before we end up. Yeah, she said, obviously the performances this season have been subpar, and we've lost as many as we've won. He's broken another couple of records tonight as well. Yeah, with doing the double over us since '86, Everton. First time they've won at our ground.
Oh, was that a game when Adrian Heath scored in 6 minutes in time and he volleyed it?
There you go. You're showing your age now, mate. You're looking good, though.
I was 14 years old when that happened. So that's how long we ever.
Let me ask you this. My missus came up with this good point earlier. She said, these Cronkies are very clever, yeah? Obviously, there's a lot of heat on them right now, but obviously our league position isn't great. She thinks that they're going to sack him, yeah? And that would be the first step of, oh my God, let's 100%. Forget about it. Yeah, do you think that's going to happen?
You've got to realise that when things are going difficult, when the heat is on the team, what's happening right now is that any inertia goes 360 from one extreme to the other. They go, oh, action. They're finally going to notice that, oh yeah, by the way, we've lost 13 games this season, 9 at home, and this process is that we isn't actually working. So in order to show. Basically go from inaction. We've got to take action. We said, right, what's the best thing to do? Some of the fans don't like Arteta. The results are crap. We've got to
we're in established control and we're sacking. And we're saying that it's part of the, we've heard you, we've listened to you. Kenny.
And then what will happen is that they'll be very careful with the manager they'll get, and they'll get a big name in and say, look, here, have the money.
Exactly what my said, 100%. But listen, big up to you, man. We're going to do player ratings in a short while. Thanks for coming on, man. I know it's been a mad week. We're going to do the podcast tomorrow as well, 4 p.m. Yeah, normally we do it today. But listen, big up to you, my guy. And I'll see you in a bit for the player ratings. Thank you, man.